solutions, we have payment solutions and digital channel solutions.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Moses Njimana. I work with Paytota. Paytota is a B2B payments, enabling payments for different businesses here in Africa. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Mbabali. I work with InterSwitch Uganda, the payments and transaction processing company. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm called Mary Colin. I work with Payway. That's you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alan Simeta from Hama East Africa. Hama develops solutions for enable payments to smallholder farmers.
Good morning. My name is Gladys Rabuhemba. I am the PR person from Brighter Monday, Uganda. Brighter Monday, Uganda is a job matching platform.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Thomas Kassiye. I'm from Rock Telecom Limited. We're an internet service provider. So we enable you reach all your customers all over the world. We also offer cloud services. So if you want to host your servers, we can host you locally at our data centers, and we can also host you in the cloud. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am George Wilson Senkande. I'm the Programs and Activities Officer at Fitspa. And that guy who's always in your inboxes, sending you messages and emails. I'm glad that everyone has, I'm glad that you've made it, and I'm happy that DTB has hosted the community. We are really grateful. Thank you, and I wish you fruitful discussions.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cole Walter. I work with CWG Uganda. CWG Uganda is an IT enterprise company with head offices in Nigeria. We have branches in Dubai, Ghana, and Uganda. We are a Finacle partner.
I think everyone has been introduced, apart from the DTB staff, who I have deliberately not given an opportunity. Once again, we want to say thank you very much. One person, right? Okay, someone else is there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vanessa Sempemo. I work as a business development officer at Brazil Technologies Limited. We are Fintech solution for schools. Yeah, that's what we do.
All right, thank you very much. We also have a community that is online. We want to welcome you on this engagement, and we're saying thank you very much for coming. Getting back to the expectations, as you have tapped or scanned through the QR code, the expectations we have from 30 people are: number one, we want to see industry community growth, stronger partnerships, solutions for fintechs, learn more about BAS, business, banking as service, the collaborations, banks enabling fintechs, understand bank services, DTB solutions, DTB discussions, partnership, mutual support, and I can see all of it is closing into one word, and that is partnership. And true, we want to thank you very much, Fitspa and the teams in fintech space for agreeing to be partners at this engagement, and want to welcome you once again for this meeting. Yes, we have started the engagement already, and allow me to invite the Managing Director, DTB, Mr. Varghese Tambi, to give us a few remarks, then we can dive into the big discussions on fintechs today. Thank you, and welcome, Mr. Tambi.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning. Good morning, Fitspa board members and the chairman. Even though the chairman is not there, it's well represented by Zaina Muddu. Zaina is equal to Fitspa, Fitspa is equal to Zaina. That is the equation. And all members of Fitspa present here, other invited guests, all protocols observed. My name is Varghese Tambi, Managing Director, Diamond Trust Bank, Uganda. I am with a team of relevant officials from DTB Uganda and DTB Kenya to make this session highly interactive and result-oriented one, in addition to introduction and networking opportunities. We have a few on e-breakfast from remote locations, such as Mumbi and Stella from Tala, Kenya, and two of the people by virtual participation, for them it is not e-breakfast, it is e-dinner. That is Kevin Colacho and Rupak Ando from Retail Cloud, USA. And we have a representation from Spain, Madrid, from a company called Plug and Play. We have Kelvin Joka and Janet Dali, key officials of DTB Kenya, responsible for digital transformation for the entire group. Diamond Trust Bank is operating in 4 countries, East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Burundi. And these 2 youngsters are responsible to roll out digital transformation in DTB, within the DTB group. And we have our colleagues from the bank, including the executive director. I want for recognition, Babasi, please stand up. Babasi Emijit is executive director of Diamond Trust Bank, Uganda. And we have Aijaz Shalla, who is the COO, who I think almost completing a year in Uganda. And Manav Minki, the right person for fintech and innovations. We imported both Manav and Aijaz from Kenya. A decade back, banks were looking at fintech as competitors, whereas now banks can't survive without fintech partnerships or integrations. Some of them became fintechs with digital banking license, such as the payment operator license or payment service provider license by Bank of Uganda. Let me congratulate all the Fitspa members who have moved up, about 26 of them out of 220 and odd members out of Fitspa Uganda. Over 26, they have upgraded themselves into the regulatory segment regulated by Bank of Uganda. Now, when we look at that, these people, when they start a bank, it will be a problem for us. So fintech, are they going to swallow the banks? But Zaina told that it is not like that. So, but we have to take abundant precaution. And now commercial banks, they want to have named as fintech with banking license. commercial banks as fintechs with banking license. And we are trying to reach to that space so that we will balance the system. Otherwise, we may see a couple of years later, fintechs coming as commercial banks, all digital, and the physical banking, brick and mortar, all is going to be out. So then then we will have a huge unemployment problem. So we want to balance it by reverse action by our entering as a fintech with a banking license already. Now, because of the data protection, data privacy, and other critical matters, it is very important to make this partnership fruitful, and the confidentiality is very important. Last couple of weeks back, there was a session on data privacy, and it was very clear there are serious penalties on violation of data privacy related matters. So we have to be very, very careful. I request Fitspa existing members present here and potential members who are online in the virtual screen to make DTB as their banking partner to use banking as service. I think that is the partnership, that is most of the questions were around that. How they can use DTB as a bank for banking as service. Now, when we move fast in digital banking space, there are some serious issues which we should not ignore. We have seen certain serious cyber frauds within Uganda and within East Africa and even across Africa in the recent times. When we do a deeper analysis of these frauds, mostly are reported to be out of unethical insiders' involvement. Insiders of the banks, insiders of the fintech, colluding with external fraudsters to make their mission successful. And in the process, many banks lost money. These officials with questionable integrity, these are a weakest link of the entire chain of system security. Importance of recruitment practices as fintech as well as banks should be relooked, failing which we may hit with serious operational risks. In the banking sector, under the Uganda Bankers Association, there is a black book where all the banks pool the data of officials with questionable integrity so that they are not getting recruited by another bank. A time has come now, Fitspa and UBA should work together and update that black book. So a fraudster of a bank should not enter into Fitspa space, and Fitspa's fraudster should not enter into the banking space. Financial literacy and financial inclusion. This is a very old chapter, very old topic. Now we have to upgrade into digital financial inclusion and digital financial literacy. And DTB is moving fast in that area, and it is very much interesting. We have seen some people with agri-tech and education related activities, which will take a long way to address the main issue here. 48 million population in Uganda, 34 million mobile banking accounts, duplication of course, one will have both Airtel and MTN mobile money, and only 14 million bank accounts, that again with duplication. To the regulated banking segment, so that the cost of deposit can reduce, lending can reduce, our economy can be fast, and that can be done only by the partnership between banks and fintechs. Thank you very much. Thank you for patient listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tambi, DTB. I think the hand clap was last. Give him a second one. For those of you that have want to welcome you once again and say thank you very much for coming. At the entrance, by scanning onto that QR code on your table, Allow me at this point to invite the COO, DTB, Mr. and with him, he will introduce a team that will come from Kenya to tell us so much more about what we have as DTB Group. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. With also observed, I will not take your time to introduce much about. I'm thankful to MD for this whole event here, and the people from Fitspa, the members of Fitspa and the bank. We are joined together. But I'm excited that today I'm part of the technology leaders in Kampala. Right? We are together trying to carve a common goal, trying to work together in collaborative way. So technology is best, and that means we collaborate, we see how we lift each other together, how we work together, innovative products together, how as a bank, we support fintechs, give them the right platforms. Right? So how many of you are familiar with this picture? I'm talking of the machine. You know what's that machine? Yeah, it's a quantum computer, right? So, you know, how many of you have economic forms recent report on marriage of industry and services? If you are read, then it should wake us up. Because from the report, it's seen why is taken by the fintechs, not by the banks, by the fintechs. It's taken by the fintechs, the Googles, now the Alphabets, the Amazons, right? Why? Because you need to be innovative, to be creative. They attract the best skills, and they have the resources, they have the funds. They spend billions on investments, right? And the billions on investment of these quantum computers. And do you know this quantum computer? The biggest supercomputer will take 47 years to solve a mathematical problem or an algorithm. This quantum computer can do in seconds. That's innovation, that's billions of dollars, right? So why I'm saying that we'll discuss next. Just next. How many of you know this picture? Have you heard of Stockfish and AlphaZero? Yeah, I think I can see many hats. Yes. So the story is Stockfish, a supercomputer with, sorry. Hello? Hello? The Stockfish supercomputer was designed specifically with hundreds of years of knowledge about playing chess. Okay? Investment done in Stockfish. But then the AlphaZero, again, an investment from Google, Alphabet, on the machine learning. They came up the chess game using machine learning. And AlphaZero started knowing nothing about chess, played games with itself. In a span of 4 hours, played millions of games and beat Stockfish. That is the power of technology. That's why they take the bigger chunk off from the markets. They are in the Eastern Asia, they are in the Europe, they are in the West. What does that mean? I'm not scaring you. I'm not scaring you. I just want to ignite thoughts from you. See how we move forward. See the players we have to fight, the players we have to play with. the niche we had created. So again, I request QR code, the multimeter, you to stay relevant in the industry sphere of life, not. Can we log in, please? And have your response. What should we do differently? Okay. You know, we are fighting Fintech who have the power, who have the skills, who have the technology, who have the money. So we have one response so far. Can we put ticket caps on, see how we create our relevance in the changing technology environment. When big techs have so much power, so much resources. Yes, we can see the collaborate, co-create, collaborate. That means take competition in a positive way, not pull legs, okay? Support each other in the competition, right? That is competition, right? Create the right environment. That's the theme coming up. Do research, data-driven lessons, collaborate more, industry education. So I think we are on the same platform. What we intend to say, we have to work as a team. That is the collaboration. Okay, we have to support each other. The banks have to support fintechs, and fintechs have to work together to see how we co-create, how we innovate, because we are fighting a bigger competitor. If you compete within yourself, you cannot compete a bigger one. Okay? So within ourselves, you have to collaborate, and collaborate. That's the theme coming up. So with this thing, we'll see how we provide the right platforms to all the fintechs here so that we can collaborate together, right? You can use our technology. We can provide you the right platform to consume our services, to embed our services into your product. You create the product, and we provide the platform. That was the essence of the theme. That is what we are here today to discuss, to explore how we co-create, how we collaborate. I think that's okay. We can move next. I think we are on the same page, all of us together. So I'll just walk you briefly through what DTB overall, the profile DTB before we then move to the digital part of it. What platforms we provide, and we'll invite our colleagues, our digital leaders here from DTB to take you through what platforms we offer for you, how we can enable you all the bits down, how we can co-create, how we can collaborate. So DTB, as our MD said, is in 4 countries. It's in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, right? We in Uganda, this is a footprint in Uganda, we have more than 1,000 touch points in Uganda, right? Touch points in the form of branches, ATMs, agent locations, right? Apart from the digital touch points, apart from digital channels. There is hardly any public product in the country which we don't offer. There's hardly, whether it's on the asset side, or it's on the liability side, or it's on the charge side.
we have almost all proportions, value propositions from different perspectives, from different areas of time. On the digital channels, on the digital side, most of us you must be using our mobile banking or internet banking or branch. They're matured now. These are the basic digital channels which are matured now. So we have been offering for long now. And we are piloting. We are piloting our digital sales. You should soon be able to onboard into the DTB from the comforts of your home, from the convenience of your place. Okay, from the mobile, from the internet site, right? Directly, you don't need to visit DTB branch. Then we are into so many other digital products, including digital lending and others. It's just a brief before we start how we engage within ourselves, what we can do. So, as MD highlighted, we as financial institutions or we as fintechs, we have to command a lot of respect from the society so that the people can consume our products and services. So how we can command respect? That means we should be the trusted partners for the people. They trust us with their money, right? They use us. They don't. We need to have strong foundations on the security layer. So they feel their money is quite safe. So in any digital journey, security is must. So we have enhanced our security. We have the state-of-the-art security operations center. I think we are among the few organizations who have the red teams and the blue teams concept in place. Right? Red teams means you hack your own organization to see how secure you are, right? And not only that, we are also supplementing the traditional latest concepts like so that whosoever plugs in doesn't plug into the DTB just using the credentials. We'll authenticate the device, we'll authenticate the version of the OS you're using, we'll authenticate the location you're logging from, right? That's the level of security we're building within DTB. So that is must, that's the foundation layer for any digital product you have to create, because that it's the trust on which the banks operate. If the customers don't trust you, you will not survive. So we have set state-of-the-art digital factory to create the right platforms for fintechs, for the surroundings, for the communities. So I'll not go deep into that. I'll just invite my digital leaders, Kelvin and Janet. So we start the communication engagement part. How we can co-create, how we can collaborate. That is the essence of today's engagement. How we can support you as fintechs.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It's always a pleasure being back in Uganda. Glad to see some new faces, some familiar faces as well. My name is Kelvin Joka from DTB Kenya. I'm responsible for digital products and product strategy at the bank, and respectively here representing our where DTB and is ever edging so far into providing the various capabilities of financial services through key partnerships, because we also realize the fact that DTB can't do it alone. How can we offer financial services? How can we extend technology? ASRA is an embodiment of the digital transformation program for DTB as a group, and that is bringing to Take your solution to market, operate it, and then figure out what your business model is before you actually go out and start scaling. All these are the questions that ASTRA is trying to address. But how do we do that? So through the ASTRA program, we're looking at one, enabling an environment through which DTB can take on the onus of responsibility to actually front you to the regulator and say, hey, here's a fintech, and please, let me correct myself. Fintech is what rolls out to the mouth every other day. However, we work with any technology-enabled business, just sampling the room. We have an agri-tech, we have an edutech, we have a bit of fintech, and if I had someone addressing certain they're using technology to solve the daily needs and daily problems of the end consumers or customers you're serving. Now in this case, when you look at DTB and ASTRA, we are looking at solving those solutions for you, the technology-enabled entity. Because we believe through yourselves and the niche solutions that you're taking to market, you have a better play at understanding what those needs are. You have a better play at putting out the solutions at a much faster or rapid scale than would be within a mammoth that is a financial institution. And that's what ASTRA is presenting. So ASTRA is really a democratization of the various capabilities that the financial institution has gained over the years, and we're putting those out in the manner of API. So what that means is, banking as a service for us is a confluence of different solutions all in one. So when I say accounts, that's what I'll call stores of value. Every other day you have to engage in value exchange for the various customers you're solving for, right? One, you need to provide saving solutions, you need investment solutions, you need to do payments. There has to be a place from whence these particular values are being managed from. That could also be trade. Now to operate such capability as a technology-enabled company, there's a whole raft of regulation that you have to adhere to. In a place that you're serving, how is it that you facilitate value exchange? That's why we couple payments as a service as well. This is across the national payment systems that will be available to the financial institution. It's custom solutions where we would actually look out for what niche problems would you like to solve. We have remittance companies in the room. We have persons who are making payments outside the country for cross-border payments. You have person-to-person payments you want to look at. You have consumer-to-business payments, and the list goes on. Opposed to hoarding that to ourselves, why don't we proliferate that and provide a safe environment through which a partner of ASTRA would actually be able to take to market. So effectively solving certain problems for you. Most of the regulatory requirements will have you monitor those particular transactions, make reports on certain patterns that may be considered fraudulent. You'd have to go through AML and CTF screening, so on and so forth. The bank has already built all that. Why would you want to go and start rebuilding all this infrastructure just to solve a simple problem that already has a solution? ASTRA presents its payment as a service rails to facilitate such capabilities. Now, if you think about it, if you have a store of value, you have a customer who can make payments, you may want to extend those particular capabilities through various channels, right? One of those channels that we are actually putting out in the market is card as a service. Now, if you contemplate the fact that if you look at most of the cards, they will only interact and have a conversation with a principal member. In most cases, that's a financially regulated entity, correct? But what stops you from
stability. about collaboration being real collaboration and not collaboration that is masked behind, competition that is masked behind collaboration. I'll address that. I'll address the technology bit. You want to understand how it is that you can actually have easy, fast integration with banks without the bureaucracy that comes with that process. I'll address that. Anyone else?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess for us, it's really around fees. When you're starting out, before you have kind of partnerships with banks, you're using other kind of startups and payment processes. And very often we're working with small businesses, so the amounts being transferred are relatively small, but the fees end up killing you. And so partnerships with banks are useful because you have the size and the scale to enable lower fees. But I think, yeah, being clear around what does that look like in terms of partnership? Is it revenue share? What are your fees? And just so it makes sense for someone operating in a market where, yeah, the amounts are small, so fees need to be super, super low.
Thank you very much. Fees is number 3.
Thank you. My name is Godfrey Yoga Segukuru. I represent Crop Silicon in this market, a company you may know very well. I also have interest in the fintech space. Came in a bit late, but I must say I'm confused between DTB and Astra. So I don't know whether you are pitching for the technology or you're pitching for the bank. Now for the fintechs, in which case you may have to decouple the technology from maybe from the bank. So you present what those banking or partnerships you're actually talking about. And one of the key fears or challenges for fintechs, the moment you share your idea, you've lost it. And that is in as far as intellectual property. There's a lot of theft of ideas in our space, and once you mention it to a big player, it's gone. How do we safeguard our ideas under partnerships like this?
Number 4, intellectual property. How is it that it's taken care of, and how is it that you can trust a bank or any other partner to take care of it? Any other? Okay, actually, I'm going to start with his question, because then that gives a lot of context to everything else that has been asked. What's Astra and what's DTB? So Astra is not technology. Astra is not technology, right? DTB is the bank. DTB is a bank that wants to be the banking partner of choice for all tech-enabled businesses. However, DTB as it runs today, any bank as it runs today, cannot be that banking partner. So what did DTB do? DTB had to sit down, do a lot of research and development, look into the market and try and understand your businesses. And what they came up with was the fact that they need to create a niche, to create a solution, a program, if you may, a proposition, if you may, that would be able to take care of tech-enabled business in their entirety. So when you walk into the room, no one is asking you, do you want M247? Do you want, our online banking? If you walk into a bank today and you say you have a company X, what's the first thing we'll tell that we'll give you? We'll give you a loan, we'll give you online banking tool, we'll give you this and that. But is that why you went into that bank? Is that why you went into that bank? No. So there was need for us to create a program, which is the partnerships program called Astra, which needed to first understand what is the ecosystem around a fintech or a tech-enabled business. So the moment you start doing your business, what is your ecosystem? As a business, you probably have regulatory. And the good thing about fintechs is that, unlike banks, regulatory is usually the last thing. The first thing is the tech. Surprisingly, I got to learn that. I used to think the first thing is a customer. But I got to learn, interestingly, you only get to solve for the customer because you can build the tech. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time. There are situations where you find tech-enabled businesses that are actually trying to solve for a problem first, and then the tech comes next. But most times you'd find a group of people who know how to code, or a group of people who know how to code, or a group of people who know as someone who can fund them, etc., and then they build the tech first and then get the customer next, right? So anyway, the truth of the matter is that while you're operating like that, there is an ecosystem around you that is either going to bring you down. Ultimately, you may not know it because you start and voila, you have 5,000 people downloading your application. And you're busy, happy, and you go to Series A funding and you get $100,000 and voila, you have another 3,000 customers, 5,000, 10,000. And now every bank wants to partner with you because they want to do your transactions, right? And you think you're big until something small happens, and then, because I'm not sure about the Ugandan market, but I'll tell you about our market. Something small happens, and then a certain user just goes to Twitter and talks about how they tried to make a payment since yesterday on your platform and nothing has gone through, and then they tag the CBK governor. And then in less than 2 days, we all get a letter, the banks, that any bank that is dealing with you needs to cease. Okay? And then that's when it dawns on you, wait, was I supposed to get a license? I can't pay the 20 million I need to pay. What is this compliance thing? So Astra is not the technology. The technology came later, right? When we started talking to some of the partners, and some of them are in this room, either on the call or somewhere, we did not have the technology first. We first started by understanding what is the tech-enabled business ecosystem looking like. Who does it touch? The customer. How do we support them to serve the customer? And a unit was built for that. Who does it touch? The regulator. How do we support? We have had meetings, at least with the Kenyan regulator, almost monthly for the last 8 months, to just make them understand what you're trying to do, position you as partners of actual substance in the economy and in the market, and position ourselves as the bank that will support without competing. We're not doing competition. We're actually doing full collaboration. I'd like to make that very clear. I do not have the capacity. The TB may have the resources to do it, but not the capacity to build, I don't know, there are over 15 fintechs here in this room, 15 platforms, just so they can compete with you. We don't have that capacity. That's a fallacy, right? It is not true. We cannot go and build a system that understands agriculture at post-harvest, right? We are not farmers. We cannot go and build another system that does ABCD. So our point is not to come and compete with what you're doing very well. It's to accept that, one, we have the resources to do what we can do. We have the capacity to do what we can do. You have the knowledge, the experience, and the resources to do what you can do. So what is it that we can do together? When we come together, what is it that we can bring out by our support? One most important thing that I need to mention, and this I can validate for you. As I said, we are working with over 150, maybe 70 plus fintechs at different places of onboarding in Kenya. And those are the ones that actually move past the call to Dali because someone has told them call Dali, or the meeting at DTB because someone has told them go to DTB, those guys are doing something. Those are the ones that have moved past a certain stage to warrant their mention here. So every week, I meet over 10 fintechs, okay, or tech-enabled businesses. So I'd like to address a specific thing. I assure you, everything you're solving, there are around 10 other people solving it. there is nothing unique you're doing it. It's the execution. It's the execution that would be different. So this belief, and I'm here to be very honest. I have been accused of being too honest to customers. So please forgive me. I like that some techs are in the room, and most times, Shamira would attest to this, techs are, you know, very honest human beings, except when they have deliverables with building. Kelvin is my problem. So they will tell you things that, you know, but the truth of the matter is there is nothing you're building that is unique. Now, I have the pleasure of meeting her, who will come in and tell me I'm building an agri-tech that serves for distribution. I meet him, who tells me he has a platform that doesn't distribute, but he wants to distribute loans to the guys who are buying from her. Then she has a platform that actually does logistics. He has a platform that gives loans to farmers. I mean, guys, at the end of the day, I have a full ecosystem by talking to each of you. So, well, the belief is that banks want to steal this idea. How many ideas can we steal in a day? How many? I'm not saying they don't, but I'm just telling you from where we are sitting, that is not the strategy we are going for. The strategy we are going for is to ensure her customer is unique. Her customer is probably a truck person. What value can I get from the truck person? The truck person wants, what is it called? Asset finance to buy those trucks. This truck person wants to be able to pay for, you know, for the salaries of the people who are there. This truck person wants to be able to build tech, okay? I may not be able to build the tech. I can tell them, you build the tech. Whether asset financing is your forte or not, I can do it. So we agree, and she tells me, I will do the tech. I will tell you where I'll get my trucks. Can you give me asset financing? And we build this program together, and then when money comes in, this is how I'm going to pay you. And my users, these are the products. So Astra, when it comes to the conversation, is at first, let's cover the base. And then, what tech do I have to support that conversation? Are we together? Astra is not the technology. Astra is the program. So we look at you end to end. And then I can tell her, by the way, that is a very good business. In fact, what you're telling me is interesting, because you're telling me you operate in northern Kenya. I have another fintech partner who I bank today, and incidentally, I can get their APIs with their consent to give you, because they actually have greenhouses in northern Kenya, and they need to move those tomatoes from northern Kenya to Mombasa. Okay, that's an ecosystem. Now, if I stole her idea, would I earn from both of them? What are the chances, guys? So maybe first I needed to debunk that the idea of Astra is not to understand what you're doing enough to take it. It's to understand what you're doing enough to support it. Because I personally wouldn't get paid if you guys don't do the business you need to do. Because this is all I do, day to day. I understand the tech stacks, I understand what Anonymous Sudan wants to do, and then I tip off, guys, have you checked this thing out? Your application, you can see your application, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Because perhaps I have a bigger muscle, I can talk to Deloitte and tell Deloitte, please come in and please review these applications that are my partners. And I come back to you and I tell you, okay, it cost me this much. Can we distribute it amongst the 10 of you? So we are not building a competitive platform. We are building a collaborative platform. Now that platform to work, it just doesn't need the fintech and the bank. It needs different stakeholders. It needs the regulator. We need to ensure that our regulator understands. Remember, most declines don't come because they don't like you. They don't even know you. So they can't say no because they don't like you. They don't approve because the risk is in them approving something that they don't understand. Now, unfortunately for us, and I'm saying us because, as I said, I'm a child of this, we concentrate more on the storytelling. We forget the fact. And sometimes the regulator is not interested in the story. The regulator doesn't want to know that you're solving for farmers. in central Kenya. He wants to know how you're protecting that farmer by solving for them. You can't tell me that you're giving them loans, but you're not telling us how you're charging them. So if you give them 500 Kenya shillings and you're charging them 250 shillings, will the regulator approve that? They won't, because they want to understand what you're doing with the 250. But if you went ahead and say that the 250 that you're taking, 125 you're pumping it back into an investment vehicle which will go back into giving them a certain value, don't you think they'll be on the table to talk? They would be. So the problem is not how, and the value of partnering with a bank is because these are things we've done for 75 years. Believe it or not, we may have a license, but there is no product you see with a DTB logo that is not approved by BOU or CBK or BOT. That means we transcended the storytelling. Of course, I'm sure a few years ago that's where we were at. We want to do this beautiful thing. And then we realized our audience doesn't care about the beauty. They want to know about the functionality. And they want to know how you're protecting the end user. What is your pricing strategy? So to address you, sometimes when you talk about pricing, it's not just about what you want to price the customer, at the end customer. Sometimes when you look at the bank that is looking at what they're giving you as a price. And what the first thing we do, and one of the partners sitting here will tell you, is we actually give you the price of the end partner. If you are with us talking about card as a service, I won't tell you I'm just charging you $3,000 per month just like that, and explain what the $3,000 is for, and explain what it is that I need to take out and what I need to give in. And that's just an example. I'm not going to charge you $3,000 for a transfer. I'm just giving you an example. So the thing about these partnerships, we understand that most of you are actually looking to do some good in the market. And we don't deal with you the same way we do B2C. We understand most of you are doing B2B to C. So it will be moot for me to charge you in the same way I would charge a customer walking into the bank. So even our pricing structure has been reviewed so that we can give you the scale. If I give you a transaction for, and I'm sorry guys, I'll be talking about Kenya shilling because that's the currency I've known for the 21 years of my life. So out of this money that I tell you I'm going to charge you 15 shillings, if I charge you 500 Kenya shillings for a transaction and you end up charging your customer 1,000, I mean, you're not going to do business. And ultimately, I get hurt because I've spent time. There is someone from my staff who onboarded you. There is someone who spent every week on Monday talking to CBK to get you approved or BOU to get you approved. There is someone who actually looks at your data analytics against everyone else every day, and then you're not doing business. Who is it hurting more? Is it you or me? You understand? It doesn't make sense for me to actually give you a price that doesn't make sense for you because you won't do business. And then Mr. Tambi here will tell us, please justify why we are doing this business. If all the fintechs you're putting in are not even doing one transaction, right? So we take a hit. Well, someone would argue with us and tell us, if you do a transaction with Shamira here, you don't take for an RTGS in Kenya, you're going to charge them 500 shillings, and you're telling me you're going to charge this person 250. What's the justification? And I'm like, I want to give this person room, 250 shillings room to charge their customer. If they choose to go for 300, I want them to go for 300. If they choose to go for 500, as long as they can show me scale, I want them to do that. It is a collaboration, guys. It is not competition, and it is not a banking relationship. I think Kelvin mentioned we don't do banking. We are a bank. We are a bank that does fintech within a bank, right? We are a sandwich. We need to understand that one of the strengths we have being in a bank is the fact that we understand a lot of these things we're talking about, compliance, and there's someone who can look at data, your transactions, and tell us, guys, please call this guy because there is a guy here who's about to do something big on their platform. And that is something you may not know. You're very good at tech. But you know what is the best thing about what? Our biggest disadvantage is actually the biggest advantage we have over you. We are risk averse, my friend. We look at people, we see how they dress, we see everyone who's worn a red dress in the last 5 years has stolen something. We don't want red dresses around this building. On the flip side, you'll be talking to me and telling me, but this is kind of maroon and what, and then we go into all this color testing phase and then we come out with something. And you say it's not very nice experience. But our biggest disadvantage, the reason why we can't move as fast as you can build, remove the product from the market, reiterate. You can decide today you're selling mangoes, and then you realize mangoes are not the thing, and you can quickly change it to mango juice. And then you realize, then quickly, pineapple. I can't do that because I'm a sheep. You guys are speedboats, right? But the fact of the matter is that being a sheep, I understand the waters a little bit more. And not necessarily the customer's waters, but the environmental waters. And I may be able to do things that you may not be able to do as fast. And that is the advantage of collaboration. And the last thing, which perhaps is the most important thing, is the technology piece. Every fintech that we talk to believes that technology is superior. Now, we've had a number of partners. We've had the partners that we bring in, and we say, look guys, we love what you're doing. And we have some of them. Unfortunately, I did not seek their consent to mention their names before I came. But we've seen what they're doing, we've liked it, and we know what you say. You know what does it take for me to expose this product to my customers? So I'm not going to build another product. Just tell me, what does it take for me to expose this product? What kind of partnership can we have such that I can digitize this product, or so that I can offer this product? If I have hospitals in my books and you have a perfect system that understands the value chain and everything, what does it take for us to work together with you? We're not changing your brand. We understand fintech business. If I change your brand and it reads DTB Pivot, will Pivot go and get funding? Should you need to scale? So what is the point of doing that? Is my customer being served? They are being served, right? All they needed was trust, legitimacy that Pivot Pay is actually someone they can work with. And they've gotten that by the bank. The bank has told them, our partner Pivot Pay is doing ABCD. So should you need this kind of service, please go ahead and use it, right? And here is a work plan, collaboration. We have sat down with Pivot Pay, we've understood their processes, they've told us for us to onboard a customer, we need at least 3 meetings, I'm just saying as an example. So we facilitate that. We go ahead and close the deal together. And that is one type. The other type is when the system is too good, then we work with it. We say, can we integrate at these particular levels, and then we can be able to fulfill certain contracts. And we are good with that. However, there are always bad apples in a bag. And those bad apples are the ones that now bring the kind of constraints that you're talking about. Should I come and tell you I'd like to work with you in a certain capacity, and now you have your foot in? The most polite thing we do is we go stride by stride together. But when you sit down and realize DTB has been here for 75 years, DTB has this kind of funding, you know what? For a system, let me charge them $500,000 to use my system. Will that be a good thing? Will that be a good thing? Will it grow you? It won't. Now, the same way you have complaints about banks not being understanding to your business, is the same way we as banks also have complaints about you not being understanding to our business. Hence, the bank taking the decision, why don't we bridge that gap, bring in people, tech, expertise that can bridge the gap, that can translate the language between the bank and the fintech. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Astra. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gavin and Janet, for those great remarks there. I think you have heard it. We have seen what Astra is, what DTB is, what they bring on board, and answered some questions here and there. I believe there are more questions that you have, and this is time for you to give us those questions. I request Daphne, pass the microphone around. Friends, it's time for questions. Thank you very much. I've seen the first person here. Kindly let us know your name as you give us the question. Janet and Kevin, kindly step forward to be able to take on these questions immediately.
Good morning. My name is Shamira from Pivot Pay. It's not so much a question. I don't know whether I'm allowed to support this cause. And I just want to translate for my fellow fintechs, especially if you're not part of the 27 who are licensed. Out of the 180 plus fintechs, the reason why most of us are not licensed is two. The cost of licensing, both in terms of the money and the other subsequent resources like systems, people, so on and so forth. Now, when you want to launch a product on the market, is it sensible or even feasible for you to invest in direct regulation or licensing before you've even had a proof of concept? And beyond the proof of concept, is it sensible for you to run after licensing when you have not tested your hypothesis on the market to have what we call real live customers? What Janet was saying, that you want to start out with a mango, and along the way you realize the way you built your product, it's actually supposed to be a pineapple. But you have actually applied to central bank for a mango. And for you to go back and change to a pineapple, there's a cost, both in terms of time and finances. So I think in simple English for my people here, of course the first thing is we fear that the banks will take over or will take our ideas. But an idea is an idea until it's executed. Let's first agree. There's no value in an idea until it's executed. Number two, Airbnb have no single hotel, but they've built a platform where anybody with a hotel can plug in and serve their customers. In simple terms, in my understanding, and yes, I'm a beneficiary of this partnership as Pivot, but in my understanding, it's the same model that DTB is bringing on the table to say, we're building a similar concept like Airbnb. Let's do the licensing. Let's run after the standardization. Let's bring the payments, the last mile payments partners to you in one fitting. You do the business of building your product. Build and improve your product. Test it, scale it, do whatever you want with it. Change it for as long as you want, however many times as you want. So I hope I have tried to speak simple, clear English to my people. Let's leave alone the big words, the fancy words. Bottom line is they're building something similar to Airbnb, where none of us is going to run around for the direct licensing, but can plug in, and then we start, servicing our hotels.
Thank you very much. And that speaks to collaboration and the partnerships in there. So I want to thank you very much, Amira, for that. Yes, your views, your feedback, your comments, your questions right now. Thank you very much, Yuabo.
Hi. Sorry. If I wanted to sign up for Astra today, what's the process? How long does it take? And how do I get started?
Thank you very much, Kevin. You take that on. Daphne, there is someone out there.
Sure. So the sign-up process, and I'll just go